Hey everybody, how we doing? We're back. We're live streaming CastleMiner Z development. How's everybody? I got my Coke. Ready to go. We've been working on networking for the last week or two. It'll be a couple weeks more. I think this is going to be the last stream that I do for about 2 weeks, and hopefully at the end of the 2 weeks we'll have some changes that we can show you. A lot of the stuff I have right now is really not so different from the last stream, so I was going to focus on your questions and showing off things that you would like to see in the game, right, or things that you would like to see that we have already, along with questions. So I want to really focus on both of you. I got the TikTok stream up here too, because we're streaming on TikTok at the same time, and we're gonna spend about an hour doing that. It's my birthday this week, so there won't be another stream this week, and I'm going to be not available for streaming next week, so it'll be about two and a half weeks before we stream again. I've been trying to cut the old streams up and put up the some reels of them. Maybe you guys have catch them. I released a bunch of them in different places. Okay. Is there anything anybody wants to see right away? Let's get into the, let's get in here. So let's just do a quick little fly around. We kind of do this each time. I think a lot of times, especially on TikTok, we see people that haven't been on the streams in a long time. And we've been doing a lot of social media stuff, so we probably have people showing up there from that. Somebody's asking here, are we redesigning the game? Yeah, but we're trying to keep it as close as possible. Oh, before we get into this, let's go we do this every time. Let's do it again. I'm going to put the link in the chat. If you go to CastleMinerZ.com, you can go to our website. There's a lot of important stuff here. The first one is that you can Steam wishlist the game. Please Steam wishlist the game. If you're interested in the game, it doesn't cost you anything to do. Lets us know how many people are interested in the game. Let Steam know how many people are interested in the game. Lets publishers know how many people are interested in the game. Steam wishlist the game. The next one is the beta sign up. We've done betas for just about all of our games that have released on the PC. So if you go to beta sign up, put yourself on the list for the beta. You have a chance to be in the beta and essentially get the game for free. So that would be a good thing for you to do. We have our Patreon running. We've just decided to delay our Kickstarter, but we have our Patreon running. If you want to support us, this is a great way to do this. You can go to Patreon and sign up. I think in some of the higher tiers you get some swag. I got my Z t-shirt on here. You can go to the merch store here, and you can order CastleMiner Z merchandise. All the proceeds of that go right into the game development. We are self-funded. We're self-funded, so any little bit of funding that we get actually goes a long way at this point. We're trying to do everything as efficiently as possible. The biggest thing I keep seeing here in the chat, I saw this before we started up, is everybody is talking about the Xbox. If it was up to me, the game would be done and it would be on Xbox right now. But it's gotten more difficult to ship on Xbox since the XBLIG days. So there's a process for getting on the Xbox that requires Microsoft to approve your purchase, your project. To go through that process, you essentially need a game demo, and we're not at that point yet. This is very different than Steam. that Steam wants you to put up a page for their project as soon as possible, which I think is actually probably better. Where Xbox wants to see almost like a finished version of the game before they even approve the process. I don't know how much I'm supposed to talk about with their process or not. I don't want to get myself in trouble. But there's like several phases you have to go through and several sets of approval that Microsoft has to go through before you are allowed to go onto the Xbox. It's a curated system, so they control everything that gets on the Xbox. So So everybody keeps saying that I want, will you do this on the Xbox? Will you do it on the Xbox? It's really not up to me. We're using Unreal Engine so that we can find our way back to the Xbox. Unreal Engine lets you ship to multiple platforms very, very easily, where the XNA technology that we used before made it almost impossible for us to do this. This is the reason why we're redoing the whole project, because for years people have wanted us to be back on the Xbox, but it wasn't possible with our old technology. And we realized that if we were going to do that, we would have to do a complete rewrite of the game from the ground up. And that's what we're doing. So instead of just doing a straightforward port, since we were going to have to rewrite it anyways, we decided to use Unreal Engine and make the game significantly better than it was when it released back in 2011. So that's the whole point of this project, is to get back on the Xbox. And I see a lot of people that are kind of hostile towards this. They say like, well, it's on PC, who cares, or I'm unfollowing you or whatever. And like, you're actually like harming us by doing that. Like you're taking away the chances of actually getting to the Xbox. Supporting the game on Steam is the best way to get the game onto the Xbox. By supporting us on Steam, you will essentially let us get the funding that we need to do the project on Xbox. And you will show Microsoft that the game is successful and should be on the Xbox. So anything that you can do to help us get to Steam first is going to get us to the Xbox. As soon as the game is in a playable demo state, which will be before it ships on Steam, I'm going to start the Xbox submission process. And at that point, I'll know whether we are going to be there or not. The only limitation that we have on top of that is that we're a small team, so it's very difficult for us to do a port. Is going to be like a full-time thing for us. So it's difficult for us to do a port while we are shipping a game. So getting it to Steam first, then being able to make money on Steam so that we can use that money to get to the Xbox is the plan. Like that's the roadmap for the project. So we're not forgetting about you. We're not like having a preference for consoles versus PCs. Like it doesn't really matter to me at all. I've made both games. I play games on both places. But that is the most straightforward way for us as a little team that doesn't have a publisher to get to the Xbox. So we need your help and we need your support on that. Let me go through some questions here. And let's make sure I'm not. I kind of end up neglecting the TikTok people because they're on a different thing than my... somebody here is, can you bring it out on PlayStation and PS5? It's the same deal, basically. Unreal Engine lets us... Can you bring it out on PS5? Unreal Engine lets us do that. We have to be able to... like do the port internally, and we have to get approved by PlayStation. The process isn't so different. Somebody's asking if the game was successful in the 360 days. Yes, it was very successful in the 360 days. It was CastleMiner Z was the best-selling independent title on the Xbox. Are there plans for early access? This is something that we've debated a lot. Our plan for the game is to come out and continue adding things to the game. I have a problem with early access because I don't like the idea of selling a game that's like half done. Like I feel like when the game comes out, it should be complete and done. It shouldn't be like half done. So I don't know what people's expectations are for early access. I'm just trying to decide if I'm going to mark the game as early access or not. But we have a plan to continue on working on the game if we can afford to do that. So there's 4 of us right now. None of us have any. We don't have jobs besides working on this game. So when the game comes out, based on the success of it, we will have to make a decision whether we continue working on it or we have to go off and do other things. Everybody on the team really, really wants to do this. We want to work on this game full time, give it and have it be our full focus. But it's whether or not that's practical for us to do. And at this point, we don't have a way. It's actually very scary for us because we don't have a way of knowing that there's enough people and enough success of the game that when we ship the game, it will be there. It will be successful enough to support everybody. So the things that you can do for us, like for example, Steam wishlisting the game tells us how many people are interested in the game, and we can look at that and say, oh, okay, like we'll be okay when this ships. Do you have any idea how long this will take to complete? This is probably the number 2 question that we always get. I wish I did know. The project is going a little slower than I thought, but it is turning out better than I thought. So our initial plan was to have this done by the end of the year. I'm hoping that is still true, but it's very, very hard to predict. We could go through an exercise of sitting down and trying to plan the project from this point to the very, very end, but there's still a lot of questions that we don't have answered. So your guess is kind of like as good as mine. What you guys can do though is that you can watch the development streams and you can see where we're at each stage of the project. And I've been very transparent about what we're working on and what we're doing. So one of the things that you can do is that you can follow me and you can see how many what's the progress of the project, and I interact with everybody on the stream. So if there's something that you want to see or you have questions, you can ask me that. Will there be wandering hordes, different zombie variations? And one of the things I'd like to really add to the game is new enemies. So yeah, I think that there is it's almost for sure that there'll be new enemies in the game. Let me roll back through the questions a little bit. Okay. What's the price you're planning on? Somebody says here that they'd pay a full $60 for it. I appreciate that. This is something that we've debated a lot about since we started working on the game. Let me bring the game up while we're talking because it's just more interesting to look at the screen with that. This is what we were working on last time. We had the pyramids here. We had cut, I let the caves cut through the pyramid in the last time, and we have the dungeons inside the pyramids. The pyramids have dungeons that connect to the underground dungeons, and one of the things I did off the stream is I got all of the there was a lot of obstructions to these objects around, but I took them away, so everything is cleared. And so we designed these structures in Magica Voxel, and we put these stairways inside of them, and there's an underground dungeon system in the desert, and these stairways connect to the underground dungeon system. And if you walk around a lot, you can find the connection point to another dungeon somewhere else, or another pyramid somewhere else. But we were talking about the price of the game. I was thinking at releasing at $20. I've been asking the community what price that they would like the game to be, and we got a bunch of different questions. They all kind of centered around $20. I think that's going to end up being a fair price for the game. The game will be a lot more robust than the original CastleMiner game. Plus, the original CastleMiner game was priced at a lower point just because it was the only option on the Xbox. I talked a little bit about this in the streams about how the Xbox Live indie game system kind of forced everybody to $1. So it might not have been the best price for the game, but it was the only thing that worked on that system. I know there was a lot of resistance when we released the game on Steam at $9, which I think was actually probably a more fair price for the game than $1. But I think $20 is what we're going to go with. That's the plan right now. But that could change. That could change. Okay, let me... this is cool. There's a room that has lava next to it. Let me make sure I'm getting all your questions. More questions about coming to Xbox. Somebody's asking if there's going to be DLC for the game in the future. We'd like to do that. I'd like to come up with some interesting DLC for the game. There'll definitely be expansions for the game as it came out. I'd like to do what we did in the for the game in the past, where we had a lot of different expansions for the game. Like we had a rolling development where we were putting in most of the things in the game had to do with fan suggestions. We would listen to the fans and we would put in what they wanted to. It was called rolling development, and we'd like to do that in the future. Somebody's asking here about hardware requirements. I'm running a 4060 Ti right now, but I'm also in I'm running a 4060 Ti, but I'm also in the development environment, and the development environment makes the games run very, very slow, usually like half speed. But even at half speed, our game is not having any performance problems. So a lot of people are asking about RTX. Is RTX required for the game? We've been sort of designing the game with RTX lighting as our primary thing. Unreal Engine has fallbacks. I don't know what the fallbacks will look for. We haven't tried them yet. This is usually one of the last things that you do for a game. Like we try to solve all the problems in the best way we can, and then we try to come up for solutions for lower hardware after the fact when we're optimizing the game and shipping it out. But right now, I don't. We all run the game with ray tracing, and I think the video card that you need for that is. I actually don't know what the lowest end video card is for that. And let me make sure I'm getting to all the questions. I'm watching two. Somebody said I'm looking at two chats at the same time, which is difficult. We're working on an AI tool that brings the robot to life and will help me with these streams here. That's one of the things we're working for. Somebody's asking what my computer specs are right now. I could tell you, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of difference because in general, when you're doing game development, your computer is like super high powered. I have a 4060 Ti. I have a very high-end CPU, and I have a lot of memory. I think 128 gigabytes of memory, but it's like those don't reflect the system constraints at all. The system specs at all. This is just a run-of-the-mill game developer PC. Third question I see, which we see all the time, is that will there be the Xbox avatars? There will not. I would love it if I could have the Xbox avatars be in the game, but the Xbox avatars are not. It's just not an option for us anymore. So we're trying to figure out what's going to be a solution to that. Our plan is to ship with a player character like we have on the PC, but not the SWAT cops, and then eventually put in a character customization system if there is support for the game. Somebody's asking about the render distance. We're doing a lot of work on the game and the renderer and the performance, and none of that stuff is solidified yet. So what you're seeing in the development streams is probably not what the end game is going to be like, and I just don't have those answers. Somebody's asking, is there a Discord community? There is a Discord community. We have a Discord server that's not very active, but the community has a Discord server that is very, very active and been up for a long time. And I encourage everyone to join that Discord server. they've been very supportive of us, and there's some great people there that have done a lot of work on the game. And if you're looking for someone to play the original game with, they're there right now. Let me see if I could pull up a invite for that server. And the link I just put in the chat is for the community Discord server. Somebody's asking, is this a remake? Kind of. I keep telling people it's sort of like a remake and a remake and a sequel at the same time. I think we have some textures need to be loaded there. I keep getting that. That's interesting. I actually should. When you see the grid like that, it means that there's a texture error, and it looks like for some of the materials we're seeing that right now, and I don't really understand why. It's a bug that we'll have to look into. We could try to dig our way up to the surface here. Oops, I threw a glow stick up there. Since there seems to be a lot of people on the stream that haven't been here before, this is a really cool example of the lighting in the game, actually. Like, we're getting a combination of lighting bouncing up from the ground here and the glow stick lighting. A lot of this stuff is like really only possible with ray tracing, which is one of the reasons that we're using it. Somebody's asking if I still have the original game files. I do. We started a lot of this with the original game files, and we started replacing them as they went on. Somebody's asking about the original, working on an original CastleMiner port. I think it's more likely that we would make that a game mode in this game than doing a full port, because the original CastleMiner game was just building. While I'm out here, let me do a couple, since everybody is new to the game, let me do a couple things. I'm going to throw in some thunderstorms. I'm going to turn the volume down, and let me make it daytime just so that it's not so hard to see. And we're going to spawn some of our new zombies. This is something that we'd worked on in the earlier this year, and we were trying to get the original zombies to look, trying to get the new zombies to have the look of the original zombies but look more modern. And I think we had this custom made for us, and it was, I think the artist did a really, really good job with it. And the animations are still stand-in, but this is what the zombie is going to look like. We have I don't know which, the skeletons are using the wrong animation. But you can see, if you remember running through the desert in the original CastleMiner game, you can imagine that this is a good example of this. It's like the same thing, but different. In fact, I can put in a sandstorm. And you can kind of get a feel for what this will feel like being in the game. Somebody's asking if the zombies still start running if you run away from them. It is the AI right now. I think is still from the original game, so they do all the same things that they do. Somebody said it's a cruel life for a zombie. It is. It's just to spawn, just to be gunned down. We have dynamite. We put a bunch of in the game. The dynamite's going to work a little different. We used to have a dynamite block. Dynamite is going to be something you can throw now, like a grenade. There's C4 in the game, but I don't have that up in my inventory right now. And we have the lasers working. We spent a lot of time getting lasers to work in the other streams. In fact, what's cool about them is, let me get down into, actually, let me teleport to the home world. And we spent a long time getting the lasers to work. Oh man, I ran out of laser ammunition. Let me just restart. The lasers break hot pieces of rock off. If you watch the other streams, you watched us develop that stuff. It's actually super gratifying to do this. I can't wait till the laser LMG goes in and there's pieces and sparks and debris going off inside. You could imagine being inside of a cave. Well, let's just try it out. You can imagine, let me restart just to reload. You can imagine being in a cave with a bunch of enemies and like lasers going off everywhere. Like it's going to be chaotic and crazy. So if we put a couple zombies down here and so you imagine if you were in here with your friends and laser rifles were going off, like this would be pretty cool. And you can see like even these chunks light up the environment around them. Like this is one of the cool things about RTX is that the light, you know, like you could see that even the chunks light up. So if you're in a really dark cave, let's just do that. Let's get into like a really dark cave, and there's a lighting bug here, made everything too bright. Like that is a you can see how even the hot chunks of rock light up the cave around them. So we're trying to do a whole bunch of stuff with light in the game. I think I'm being chased by zombies here. Pop a glow stick to gives you kind of idea what the lighting in the game. I mean, lighting in games is everything, so this gives you a really good sense of kind of what the overall look of the game is going to be like. Oh, by the way, when I click away, because I get a lot of criticism of this in the streams, like when I click away, the game gets slow just because it's trying to save resources on my PC. It's not. This isn't how the game runs. It's just usually when I click away to the chat. Let me make sure I'm getting. There's people asking for the Discord link. I put the Discord link in the chat, didn't I? Will there be different alien variants? What's actually one of the things I want to do? I wanted to do more stuff with the aliens. I have plans for that, but I don't know how much I'll be able to get in before the game ships. I think there's at least going to be different species of aliens that are different. That's what I want. but I'm not sure. I'm afraid to talk about things. I never like to talk about things until they're actually in the game. Oh, I missed this donation. Sorry about the donation. Oh, can we hear plans to see you work on dungeons, the structures for the snow scene in the desert? Yeah. So that was one of the big things I added for the game. I've told this story on the streams before. The one of the games that I wanted to make, which I never got to, was a game called CastleMiner Dungeons, and as sort of a precursor to that, I would still like to make that game. I put some dungeons. We did a dungeon crafting, dungeon system in the game. We did that live on several of the streams. Right now, I have the dungeon system in the desert, but there's a underground here. I have all dungeons, but it's a procedural dungeon system, and it's kind of weird. It's very like liminal spaces or back rooms. Like it's these dungeons are randomly generated, and they go on forever. I would like to have special enemies inside of these dungeons, and I would like to have treasure in these dungeons, like things that you can discover inside the dungeons. One of the things I wanted to do, and I was thinking about doing this on the development stream, was to have random dungeons inside of the world, like where if you're inside of the environment, that there would be random dungeons that pop up here and there. But they're sort of reskinned versions of the same structure. I'm trying to think if there's another place. There is another place in the world that has a different type of dungeon right now, but I don't want to show it off. Has something to do with lanterns. Somebody's asking when the game is coming out. We're hoping by the end of the year. We're working very hard to do that. One of the things that somebody's asking if there will be different dungeons for different biomes. I've been thinking about having ice caves, so that's one of the things that I'd like to do, but I haven't built those yet. We could do a reskin of the dungeons on the stream here to see what ice caves would look like. It might be kind of cool. Somebody, thank you so much for the donation. Again, I really appreciate the donations during the stream. Even small donations make a very big difference during this point in the development. When will we get the CastleMiner Z anime? I don't know if you mean like an anime game or like an anime show. Somebody's asking here about hell castles. I was going to I was thinking about putting in a dungeon structure in hell. I'm still trying to plan that out. I'm trying not to add work to our network developer right now. So a lot of times if I put things in the games, it sort of creates extra work, and the last thing that we need before we hit this networking thing is extra. Once the networking is out, we could start doing game demos. Somebody's asking about the creative mode in the game, and they are talking about how our creative mode worked different than most games. I appreciate that. That was something we thought of a lot. Will we do a heaven this time around? Probably not. It's funny, sometimes people call Orland heaven, or the descent is what I always called it. Let me make sure I'm going over the other chat here. Not up on the Allura. Are you the original dev? Yes, my name is Thomas Stone, and I am the original developer of CastleMiner Z and the creator of Digital DNA Games. So thank you for coming by and checking this out. Somebody's asking about, everyone's asking about the Descent, the Miner's Paradise. There's a lot of names for this this biome at the end of the world where the world starts to break up. Let me just go out there. Yes, it's in the game. The game is a lot bigger than before. It's a lot deeper. It's a lot wider. The biomes are bigger. So as a result, the descent is bigger because you actually have to go further. I don't think we're far enough for. We should at least go out to 4,000. 5,000? Are we there already? Oh, 5,000, we're there already. So let's go out to 4,000 meters. And let's just start walking down there. And in the meantime, we'll make sure that it's daytime so that we can actually see everything. We're still making adjustments to the lighting and the skies. So what you're seeing here is probably not permanent. One of the big things I wanted this time around is I wanted the skies to change in the different biomes and the weather to change in the different biomes. Just make sure I have the just kind of flying right now so that I could make this faster. Somebody's asking if there's been, oh, here we are. One of the things, I pointed this out in the last stream, one of the things that we've done here is we made the biome transitions better. This, it's taking a while to load in. I'm moving faster than I would normally ever move in the game. But this used to be like a line. I tried to make it look like glaciers that were kind of, pouring into this area. But you could see we're here in the Arctic, and we can just start running down the path. It's also a little bit more chaotic than it used to be. It was kind of almost like a stair step before. Yeah, here, I'm gonna walk through this I could just walk through this for real. This will be fun. It used to just kind of be like, oh, here we got a nice sunset that we're seeing as we're doing this. It used to be sort of a nice stairway, and now it's sort of more chaotic. I actually really want this to be, I don't want to do this at night. So because the world is twice as deep, the walk down it is twice as far. So this biome is much bigger than it used to be. And I fell down a hole. Okay. I think I'm gonna fly down this. It's funny, you start seeing other features showing up that you wouldn't have in the past, like the water spouts that happen underground. It's our new ores. We put a lot of work into getting the ores to look better. That's a copper ore there. Here's iron. Our iron ore looks different than it did before. Coal, of course. Coal is all over the place. Somebody's asking if this will be free to play. No, it will not be. When we get this deep, we're starting to see lava popping up, more coal. One of the things that I spent a long time working on was getting the ore distributions to feel good. There's a different type of rock as we go deeper. We're about to see that. It's cool with here with the lava and stuff now. You start to see different formations that you didn't see in the original game, like the world breaking up, and now you're seeing lava. And here you're down in granite. Down here, this is what you start seeing in the lower levels of the caves. Here's some gold ore here. Gold ore looks pretty cool. And the sky's getting a little bit screwed up, but that's something that we'll fix. In fact, I should just get on the ground and look at how this will end up looking. And then we're, coming down to, we used to call this Hell on Earth, this area, and this is where the undead dragon would appear. Thank you so much for the donation. It's super awesome to see this classic getting a remake. I absolutely love what I've seen so far. It looks like there's a lot of caves, though. Do you have any plans for world generation options? I'm curious what you would like to see for world generation options. I would, I have plans for different size worlds, but that's about it right now. Some of the best things that you could do if you wanted to give us suggestions is to go to the either the Discord channel or the forums. Hey, thank you so much for the donations. Thank you. Appreciate that. It makes such a difference for us right now, and it really really helps things out a lot. So if you go to the forums, I think it puts you on the Steam forums. That's another place where you can give us suggestions. It's way better. It's on the chats here. It's hard to organize ideas, but if you go to the forums or the Discord channel, at least those things stick around, and we look at everything that you send. Okay, let's go back. Anyways, it's kind of cool, like that. Like it's now we have the in Hell there is the lava pouring down from the sky, from the lava spouts underground. And we did a lot of work on Hell here on a lot of these streams. We changed the way that the lava looked, and we have the lava flows down here. There's some water flows down here too. Somebody's asking about randomized biome progression. We've changed the way that the world is structured, and there's essentially an infinite amount of CastleMiner Z worlds now. Let me pull this up. While I Somebody's asking here about the lucky blocks. Yeah, the lucky blocks are not going to make it into the new game. I'm trying to stay true to the Xbox version of the game. So I redesigned the world where each of this, like if you imagine each of the center of these circles is an entire world. So like where we were was like out here. So we walked from the center tower out to the edge, but the world is much, much bigger than it used to be before. I've been out at 2 million blocks and have had no problems at all. So we went with this, it's a hexagonal grid system. So each of these points, there's another tower in each of the points that you run into. Before, the world repeated like a bullseye in rings, but now the worlds, there's separate worlds. And one of the things I had slated for one of these streams was to set these up to be random biome progressions in each of the worlds. So, for example, the tower might show up in the Arctic in the center here, and there might be all desert and whatever, but each of the worlds would be separate. So you could travel really, really far out. Somebody's asking when we're going to look at the voxel submissions. I should talk about that a little bit. There is, you can build things for us if you go to our website and hit, I'm going to put the link to our website back into the chat again. Into the chat, you can build things for us. There's a set of tools that you can use to submit creations to us that we can place in the game as points of interest. So if you go to this website, it'll give you the tools and show you how to do this. It doesn't cost anything to use the tools. Thank you so much for the donation. Game looks super superb. Can't wait to spend hundreds of hours on this. I hope everybody loves it. Thank you so much. The donations help a lot. Really appreciate it. Let me bounce over. How will the characters look? We talked about that a little bit earlier. We're going to start with a one player character, and if the game is received well, we'll add player customization, but we can't use the Xbox avatars anymore. Are you thinking of mod support? This is another question that we get very often. Mod support is something that we would definitely like to add, but I'd like to understand what the community wants for mod support. So if you can go to the forums and describe to us how you would like to mod the game, that actually helps us plan that out a lot. And it's better that you can plan that. It's better if we know it's. I'm looking at some of the questions here. Somebody's asking here about what if I made it to 60,000 blocks in the Lantern biome. We've done so much stuff on Lantern Land. So Lantern Land was caused by a bug. It was a rollover bug, is what we call it, when a number gets too big for the computer. And what happens is, it was a very, very simple bug. It was one line of code. But what happens is when you would go far enough out, you would end up with a tall wall with all lanterns on it, and that would stay like that for, I think, another 60,000 blocks until it went back into the regular world. We don't have that same bug anymore, but I put something out there that honors the memory of Lantern Land, because that was one of the most epic bugs ever. The story of that is so amazing because we didn't. Nobody had, like, you guys had seen it before us. Like, so we saw videos of Lantern Land and I just didn't believe it. And I remember the morning that we went out and flew out to 60,000 meters and saw the lanterns and then said, how could this happen? And what was happening is everything past that location was turning into block 00, which is the middle of the tower, like a long piece of bedrock with a lantern on there. And it was weird to me because it happened in the snow, and Game of Thrones was popular at the same time. So it was weird. It just was the coincidence that this place was in the snow. I'm going to crack a Coke here. That this place happened in the snow was kind of amazing. We'll be adding trading cards to Steam. That's a good idea. It's amazing that so many people have memories of going to Lantern Land. That was something that was. It's one of the most amazing game development stories that I tell people this story all the time because it's completely emergent. It wasn't something that anybody planned. It just happened, and that's kind of amazing. At what age did you start the original CastleMiner Z, and how old are you now? And are you happy with all the work that you've done so far in all your projects? Those are great questions. I'm trying to remember how old I was. I was in my 30s when I made CastleMiner Z. I had already worked in the AAA game industry for over 10 years. I will be 50 this week, so I'm legit old. And am I happy with all the projects I've worked on so far? Yeah, like I could not possibly be happier. I worked in the AAA game industry for years and years and years, and I actually didn't like it very much. I only got to work on very small pieces of projects. You don't get to be very creative in the AAA game industry because there's so many people on a project, so you kind of get stuck doing like one little thing. So one of the most interesting things about doing indie games was that I got to work on like all the different parts of games that I wanted to. And at the time I was doing music, and I was just kind of looking for some place where I could stick my music where people would hear it. I think the original, trying to think of what songs ended up in the game. Like the original Avatar Paintball song, I think, was one that I had done. But yeah, being an indie is great because you get to like do all the creative work and all the fun stuff, and you get to make whatever you want, and that's the cool thing. So I was happy. We made, I think, 16 or 17 games for the Xbox. Most of them were bestsellers. I see if I can name as many as I could right now. Avatar Paintball, Avatar Warfare, Avatar Laser Wars, Avatar Laser Wars 2, Avatar Connection. We made a lot of Avatar games for the things. Avatar Avenue, that was actually the first game I made for the Xbox. God, what other ones? It's like the Avatar Aquarium, that was actually one of the goofier ones that I did. Avatar Alarm Clock. There was a guitar tuner that I made. I remember that. That was Voice Changer 360. That was one. I remember Voice Changer 360 was one of the ones that actually did really well on the original Xbox. It reminded me of a toy that I had. as a kid a Transformer voice changer, and the Transformer voice changer as a kid couldn't do the cool. It was Soundwave from Transformers, couldn't do the sound right, but the technology was available when I did the Xbox to do the real vocoder for Soundwave. So Avatar 3 Voice Changer 360 was a cool thing for the Xbox. A lot of like little apps that we made for the Xbox. It turned out back in those days that apps sold better than games in that system. Like if you made a little cute app and you made like a little cute 2D game, like the app would outsell it by 100 times. And there was interesting reasons for that, because I think on the 360 there was a lot of like little games to play, but there wasn't a lot of like unique experiences to have. So there was this exercise of trying to come up with things that were unique, not necessarily games. And everybody had their avatars, and everyone had their avatars on the system, and they were looking for something to do. Somebody asked about how long we've been working on this. We started in November. I sold this to everybody as like a 6 weeks project. I was like, we made the original CastleMiner game in 6 weeks. We should be able to just knock this out. And the project has gotten more complicated since then, and more people have come onto it. So I'm really hoping that it's done by the end of the year. And everyone's asking about when we plan to release it. The official response we have is Q4, by the end of the year. That's the goal. Like we have all stopped doing what we do to work on this, so we have to get this done. So we're trying to get this done. Somebody's talking about a gun attachment system. I would love to have that. Somebody's asking me when my birthday is. My birthday is on the 17th. I appreciate that. And somebody dropped a huge amount of diamonds here in TikTok. I really appreciate that. I'm like just starting to stream on TikTok, so my apologies if I'm not giving you direct attention for the diamonds. It's because I don't know what I'm doing. But again, all the donations really make a difference. So thank you. I'm trying to remember when the original CastleMiner Z shipped. I think it was in 2012, I think. So you'd have to do the math on that. I'm turning 50 on, I think Thursday is my birthday. So you can figure out what the math was. I was in my 30s sometime. I think my later 30s. So this is a really good question. Somebody's asking here, did the Avatar games require specific permission from Microsoft, or were the Avatar simply just an API? They were both, and there was a lot of strict rules, and there was a lot of controversy because of the rules. In one of the versions of XNA, Microsoft released the API for the avatars, which was really great because the avatars weren't used very much on the Xbox. So it was so obvious to me, this is where I started doing this, that doing something cool with the avatars was the best thing that you could do at the time period. So like there was a hunger for using the avatars. So my plan was to make Avatar Paintball. That's actually when I started making these things. I started with the idea of making Avatar Paintball. And what I wanted to do was make a bunch of small games that led up to me making Avatar Paintball. So by the time I made Avatar Paintball, I had made all the different parts that I needed for the game. So the very first game I made was Avatar Avenue. I sat down and I tried the Avatar API just to try to get avatars on the screen. And I had avatars walking around. And I remember at that time period, I was like skeptical of the whole system. And I needed like a $200 monitor to continue making XNA games, and I thought maybe if I just release like avatars crossing a street, and that game was avatars would walk around and they would cross the street, and if you paid $1 you could change the lights and cars would run over them. So that I put that up, I made it in like 2 nights, and I put it up and it made like a lot of money. It was like way more money than the monitor was, and I thought, okay, this is cool, I'll do that. And I think shortly after that I made Avatar Aquarium, because I needed a way. I was building my scene graph, and I needed a way to like put that stuff together, and I just built a little game around it, and it was fun. I had fun doing this. It was some of the most fun that I had on the game. Most fun that I had in the game industry. And I made all these things until I had all the parts I needed to make Avatar Paintball, and I put that up. And Avatar Paintball turned out to be the first successful network game on that system. Like, nobody had made a network game before in that system. And one of the reasons is because we pushed you into games together, and everybody used like a lobby system. But people had a lot of fun with Avatar Paintball. But the back to the original question, it was an API, but Microsoft had so many rules about the avatars, and they were goofy. Like, they said that avatars couldn't die ever. They couldn't get hurt. Like, they couldn't have blood. There were so many ridiculous ones. They didn't want you to use the avatars as like player characters, but it was weird because like, how else would you use the game? So every time you would like put an Avatar game up, you had to obey these bizarre rules, and everybody would try to fail you out of the system to do it. So the most controversial game that we made with the avatars was Avatar Warfare, which was essentially like a like Call of Duty with avatars. And people loved it, but we had to always use special terminology. Like, when you shot an avatar in Laser Wars or Avatar Warfare, we always said you were tagged, like you weren't technically shot, because you couldn't be shot. The avatars couldn't be hurt. There was a bunch of other ones that were strange that I wish I knew the old rules, because there was a bunch of other ones that were strange. The weirdest thing about avatars was that you could use branded content on your avatar. So, for example, you could, be like a Star Wars stormtrooper inside of one of these games. And I always wanted to like just make a game about that. Like, I could have technically made like a Star Wars game and had like stormtroopers walking around. Like, I could have just spawned a stormtrooper avatar myself, and I had a bunch of those. So it was goofy, and Microsoft wasn't really aware of what was actually going on that system. They had a very, very strange system where it was all community reviewed, and they couldn't see games until the games actually shipped. So the community would approve the games, and then the games would ship, and that was the first time Microsoft ever saw them. And they didn't really seem so concerned about the system either. It was very rare where they would pull a game out, like, off of that system. It was just kind of like some weird bargain bin that Microsoft didn't really seem to care about. But I don't think they expected anybody to ever sell lots of games on that platform. I talked to some of the leadership on that team later on, and what they said is it was just sort of like, they were just looking for a way to, people to buy something, play it for a couple minutes, and get rid of it. Like, it was, I always said it was like if you walked into a store and there was a like a $4, like maybe like a $9 item, and then a $1 add-on at the end at the register. Like, everything in the store was like $9, but there was like a $1 thing at the end. So like, you would buy something for $9, but using a $10 bill, and then always have like a little change left over. Or a better example is like stores that have machines for quarters, right? Like, so like you buy something in the store, you have a quarter in your hand. Like, I remember, I'm old, right? I remember this. And then there was a vending machine that would suck the quarter up from you at the end of the, so I remember when I was a kid, the grocery stores all had like little vending machines with toys, and it was so obvious why, because people would pay with cash, and you would have quarters left over, and then they could get the quarters after you left. And I always said that the XBLIG system was like sucking quarters out of a vending machine, because people would buy something in that system for like $20 in Microsoft points, but you had to buy them in big chunks. So like, the game was like $19, and you had to buy 20 Microsoft points, and you had one left over, and you needed something to do with it. So I think Microsoft was looking for a place to kind of just suck up these extra credits, and we were at the end of that. The other thing too, which I didn't realize till later on, was that you were able to get those credits by doing things like Bing searches. And so I think there was a lot of kids that played CastleMiner Z because they could just go on and do a bunch of Bing searches, get $1 together, and play a game. And I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of funny to me that Microsoft was essentially subsidizing us at that point. Okay, and yeah, I think it was. I really like the system. The idea that you could make that you could buy. It was so easy to do purchases on the Xbox, especially. It was way ahead of their time. There was no app store or anything. The fact that you could do purchases on the Xbox was kind of amazing. Somebody's asking if this is a religious thing. This is not. This is. I played a lot of Terraria back in the days, and the idea of the underworld I always thought was a really cool idea. Is the remake for Xbox? We talked about that. Eventually, hopefully eventually we'll get to Xbox. I made Avatar Warfare 2. Yes, I did. Will there be a PlayStation? Hopefully. We've always had a good relationship with Sony. I've never made a game for them. Sony wanted to buy our company at one point. I've always had good experiences working with Sony and communicating with them, but I just have never been able to ship anything on there yet. Somebody is saying here, can we ask Microsoft to use the new Avatar system on the Xbox? The problem now is that we're using Unreal Engine, and I don't believe that there's a way to get, even if there was an Avatar API, I'm not sure that it would be something that we could use inside of Unreal Engine. And it would also have to work on other platforms like Steam and PlayStation. So I don't think that there's going to be, I could almost say with certainty is that there will not be Xbox avatars in the game. Did you play Fortress Craft in the game or pull inspiration from it? I've talked to that guy. We're very friendly towards each other. We always have been. I've talked to him. I don't think I did play Fortress Craft. I like to open it up and look at it. It wasn't something that I actively played. I think I was too busy making games back then to play anything. But we've always been, DJ Arcus, we've always been very friendly towards each other, and it's been, I never really felt like I was in competition with him. The funny story about me was that I came back from an interview at Microsoft back in those days when I was doing the Xbox thing, and what the person at Microsoft told me was that they loved the Xbox Live indie game system because people didn't spend much time on it. Microsoft had a very strange way of looking at that. They were like, people spend time on it and they move on, and they wanted people to move on so that they could buy other things. And in my head, I thought, man, your worst nightmare is if somebody makes a game and for $1 and they end up spending a ton of time on it, because that's exactly what they didn't want. They wanted you like constantly in front of the Xbox buying things. And I remember I went back to my friends and I said, the day that somebody puts Minecraft on the Xbox that's the play it's going to be over with. And for some reason I didn't like what I thought it was. I was making little projects. It was too big. I didn't want to do it myself. And then Fortress Craft came out on the Xbox and I was kicking myself. I thought, man, I should have done this. But we eventually, made our mark there. And we sold more games than anybody else on that system. CastleMiner Z was the best-selling game from the time it released until the times that until they shut the system down in 2015, and we sold more games on that system cumulatively than anybody else did. So it was great. I appreciate it. Somebody's asking if we're a one-man team. No, there's 4 of us. And it's kind of been like luck that we've been able to like get together and work on this together. Like everybody became available at the same time. It's the original people. Let me move around in the game a little bit here so we're not stuck on the same scene forever. I think we were in the descent here and we were moving away from it. Let's go to the mountains. I think that they're out here. Yeah. The mountains don't look so. This is actually I thought was one of the coolest biomes that we made because these pathways are completely random through the mountains, and I always thought it was like a sort of a cool thing where it felt like you were making a journey through the mountains. I keep losing the chats here. Hold on. Somebody's asking about, it's funny people coming into these chats late. Somebody's asking about Orland, and we just, we were literally just there. Let me throw a blizzard here into the, it's too dark. One of the things that we're working on is the lighting right now. Somebody's saying this is their favorite game. Thank you so much for the donation. The game looks great. Is there any estimate on the Kickstarter that you can share? We decided to delay the Kickstarter. I was given advice that you really should have a playable version of the game before you go up in Kickstarter. And Kickstarter is a funny thing because you can, fail on Kickstarter and not get a second chance. So I decided to wait on the Kickstarter until we have a playable version of the game, and hopefully we've built up more audience. I've been doing a lot of videos lately. I'm trying to get everybody who originally knew about the game to come back and take a look at it again, and that's been an effort to do that. You people can help by sharing our media. Like anytime you see our media, if you share it, repost it, that is something that helps a lot. And if you have friends that used to play the game, like letting them know that this is something that they can do. Follow our YouTube account. I could actually put a link. Well, a lot of you are from YouTube, but definitely follow our YouTube account because we put everything kind of ends up on YouTube first. I always put the blizzard in here, but I should try doing a little less snow. Let's do light snow. This is like Christmas Wonderland. Somebody's asking about the Discord we have. If you go to our I'm going to put the link on since there's a lot of new people coming in late to the chat. We have a Discord server. There's also a community Discord server. The link to that is on there, and I'm going to post the community Discord server as well here. Somebody's asking about cross-play multiplayer. I wish I knew. I don't really know what's involved with that. So there's a lot of new people. CastleMiner Resurrection. My name is Thomas Stone. I am the original creator of CastleMiner Z, and we're remaking the game. We're making a similar but better version of it, I guess is the best way to put it. Somebody's asking where's the place that they can put their... I should really point this out, is that we have an FAQ section where a lot of these questions are asked. If you go to our website, FAQ section, there's the place where you submit your creations are here. There's a web page that shows you how to go through the process of submitting your own things. There's a guide that you can download here, and it tells you how to do it. And we're collecting those, and we'll be putting them into the game as we go forward. And I gotta trying really, really hard not to pay attention to the chats here. This is kind of cool. We're getting like a sunset over the mountains here. I'm always flying around in the game. Transition zones are a lot different than they were before. I guess we could pop a couple zombies up while we're waiting. Somebody's asking a lot about the music in the game. I don't have the music in there yet, but there's definitely plans to. I wanted to actually add music to the game. I want to keep the original. People love the original music. I want to make sure that the original music is in there too. I kind of planned. This is supposed to be a development stream. I should have been making things instead of just playing around the game. Somebody's asking if the home screen would be the same music. We did a remake of the original song. If you go to our, well, the teaser that plays, I don't know which version there is, but I think there's the version of the teaser on the YouTube page, I think has a song. Definitely the one on the Steam page has the new song. There was a really talented musician did that for us. Somebody's asking if the laser pistol is going to be different in the game. Like, definitely, these are all standard. None of this stuff is going to make it into the game. Like, this is a Glock. I think the original one was a 1911, and the 1911 will end up being the one in the game. But this is all standard stuff right now. Somebody's suggesting putting a link to Steam on the game. I think that's a really good idea. If you can go to the Steam page for the game, wishlist it right now. Like, I'll wait. I'll give you guys a couple seconds. Go to the Steam thing and add to your wish list. This is the one of the most important things right now. Have you done it? Have you done it? Have you wish listed the game? Good. Okay. This is kind of cool. The snow will melt here on the ground here pretty soon. It's like we had it snowing. Make sure. I'm trying really hard not to. I'm trying to look at the two different streams at once now. Day. Let's go. Trying to get to be daytime here. I'm stuck for some reason. Thank you so much for the donation. How are the wish list numbers looking? This is really strange. Steam has disabled their wish list counts during the summer sale, and they haven't come back on yet. We were at 20,000 before the Steam summer sale, but that was several weeks ago, and we've done a lot of marketing since then. I'm really, really curious myself what the wish list count is. That I would, but I don't know. And I check it every day, and every day there's like a message that comes up on the page that says we're not. Our wish list counts are not updated because of the Steam sale, which has been over for like 4 or 5 days now. So I don't really understand what's going on there. That's one of the biggest metrics for us. The other thing too is that if you can sign up for the beta, this is if you want to have a chance to have early access to the game, and that puts you on our mailing list, which is just a good idea to be on in general because we usually send out cool stuff to people on our mailing list. Somebody here is saying that that CastleMiner Z was $16.94 in the most wanted wish list Steam. That I don't know if that's up to date. It actually seems pretty good to me if that's true, but I don't know what's going on with the game and this. I know that we've had publishers reach out to us at this point though because of the wish list, which is good. I don't know that we would go with a publisher, but it's nice to have the option. Yeah, I think that somebody's asking here, are we happy to interact with the community? I love interacting with the community. I went through a lot of personal stuff a few years ago, and I kind of took a break from everything. And I'm back. So I'm glad that, this is why we do it. It's for you guys. So I appreciate you guys coming here and still being around. Thank you again for the donation. Is it better to support monthly through a membership, YouTube, or Patreon? There's a lot of different ways that you can support us right now. You can, give us donations through YouTube. You can sign up through our Patreon. I appreciate every small donation that people give to us. I don't think that necessarily one is better than the other. But everything helps right now because all of this money goes directly into making the game. And we can do a lot with a little bit of money right now. So that is something that I appreciate. Yeah, somebody's saying we're up in like around 1,400 on Steam wish lists. I think that seems actually pretty good to me. So I appreciate that. Somebody's asking how big the dev team is. There's 4 of us. We've all been in the game industry since like the 1990s. Like we're all around the same age. Most of the people, I have to figure out what they're comfortable talking about, but most of the people have made many AAA games that you've played before. So we're all like very, very pro game developers. And we're back. We're back doing it. We've all worked together for years. Thank you so much for the donation. What things are you trying to add to CastleMiner that will make it better? Are you happy with the progress of the game? I'm happy with the progress of the game right now. It's going a little slower than I'd like, but it's turning out better than I'd like. So every time we revisit something, originally we tried to do this in Unity, and when we got the game up and running, it looked almost exactly like the old CastleMiner game. And that was actually disappointing to me because I thought if we're going to make we're going to do all the work of getting this to if we're going to do all the work to redo all of this, I want it to look like a modern video game. So we did a bunch of tests and we decided to go with Unreal Engine instead because it made so many things better for us. Will the beta be available for Xbox or just for... No, I don't think it's possible for us to do a beta on Xbox. I mean, it's possible that I'm wrong there, but I don't think it's something that we can do. Somebody's asking, what's your favorite game of all time? God, I've played so many games over the years. This would be such an interesting list to go down. There's a lot of... I don't know if there's one that I can think of offhand, but there's a lot, like a list of them. Being a professional game developer, there's like a list of them that were important to me. One of my favorite games, I mean, we can go down the list, but one of my favorite games was the original Zelda game for the NES. I think that was a great game. There's another game called Herzog Zwei for I think it was for one of the Sega consoles. That was another one that I really liked. I spent a ridiculous amount of time playing the Battlefield games, especially Battlefield 2. And if you do some Google searches, you could see some videos of Battlefield 2 that I used to record. I played a lot of times the Diablo games. I liked those. NetHack, the original text-based NetHack. In fact, there was a version of that game that a modern version of that game that I want to make. That was definitely one of my favorites. I think the Zelda Ocarina of Time was one of the best games ever made. The one for the Nintendo 64. It was just a well-crafted beautiful, like just designed perfectly, beautiful game. I played a lot of PUBG. I thought the concept was really, really cool. It was something that, you know, took a long time to do. Yeah, I mean, man, I have to think about more of. There's so many of them over the years. The comment here is, will you add PBR texture? Everything is PBR textured right now, and people keep saying, will you add fog to hide the world generator? Nothing is done right now. In fact, I released a screenshot of our new lighting onto. Let me see if I can pull that up actually. And it's just not in the game right now. But one of the things that we're looking at is doing, all the different types of fog. So we're just not done yet. So we're not there. Let me pull this. It's gonna. Yeah. Let me pull this up. Our artist put this together, and he's been working on some of the lighting of the games. And this is actually in the game right now, but it's not ready to run, and it's so one of the complaints that we get about the game is that it's not CastleMiner Z. It's like it's too happy. It's not CastleMiner Z. So like we're not done yet. So this is not a concept. This actually was the settings were jacked around, but this is a stab at getting the lighting right for the next gen, for what the game would actually look like. Thank you so much for the donation. The weather is looking great in the way. Can't wait to play. But anyways, yeah, this is. I'm trying to get our artist to check this in so I can run on this in the streams. This ends up causing a bunch of other issues. So it's like when game development, you put one thing in, it breaks something else. So it's like getting things to work for real versus just getting them to look like is a difficult thing. So we're in the process of doing this right now. Somebody's saying here that they loved the fact that we were able to make the game 10 years ago, split up, work on our own professions, and come back. I think that, we went through some rough times. All of us did. I went through a lot of, we had rough times with the company, and each of us kind of went through personal stuff. Like there was a lot of stuff going on. The last big game we made was Death Toll. It was rough on everybody, and my father died, and I got divorced at the exact same time near the end of Death Toll. So, there was a lot of personal stuff that went on. I never thought we would actually get together and make games again for different reasons. Like one of them is that we were kind of like had enough of each other at the end of Death Toll. It was a very stressful project. But everybody kind of went through their own stuff and got back together, and everybody really is happy to be working on this game. If it was up to me, I would have never stopped. Let me make sure I'm hitting all the questions here. There's a lot of questions about Xbox. Everyone's concerned about it. We want to come to Xbox. We need to have a game demo first before we get to Xbox. Microsoft has to let us go on Xbox, so that's one of the issues that we have too. Anyways, I wish I could be running around in this lighting, but I don't have that set up for me right now. But this is kind of one of our stabs at what we're going for. Somebody says, do we plan on keep updating the game? We will, as long as we are doing it. What engine was the original CastleMiner Z made in? The CastleMiner Z was made in our own engine that was built on XNA. XNA was sort of like a DirectX wrapper. It's not really an engine. We had our own engine that was on top of that. Our engine was designed to make games easier. Bill Gates. Somebody says, I know Bill Gates. I'll tell him to let you on. Bill Gates doesn't work at Microsoft anymore, but I'm sure he has some pull over there. A lot of people are talking about how it was such an influential point of their childhood to play CastleMiner Z, and I think that is just such an amazing thing for me to hear, because this is why you make games as a game developer. Like, it's sort of like your like inner child that you remember the fun things you did as a kid, and you kind of want to recreate them again in adulthood as a game developer. So the fact that we could give people these really great experiences, and a lot of them are social experiences. A lot of people come to me and say they played CastleMiner with like a brother or a friend, or they met friends on CastleMiner, or they played with their parents. Like for me growing up, my father was a big deal for game development for me. My dad was an engineer, and he taught me how to program at 5 years old, and I started making games at 5 years old. But we always played games together. I really always felt that he should have worked in the game industry too. But what my earliest memories of my dad was playing Atari together, and not CastleMiner Z. He played a lot of CastleMiner Z though. It was he loved playing our games. He was a big fan of it, and we played a lot of Atari together, and we played all different games. I remember playing the original Doom with him, and I remember playing. Like the first network games. It was pretty cool. Unfortunately, he died near the end of when we were making Death Toll. It was very difficult, and it was sort of hard because he was always involved in the development of our games, and as like he was like the most critical tester that we ever had, the most critical play tester. Like he would test the games, and he would give me very, very honest feedback, which I appreciated, which I always appreciate. And it was sad that there was a lot of things I wish he could have seen this project. Are you going to keep the song that was in the original CastleMiner Z? It's interesting. Thank you for the donation, by the way. The original, we made a remake of the original song. You can see that on our YouTube channel. That was the one I was thinking about using. There's various different reasons for that. Somebody's asking what guns are finished right now. We don't have any guns that are finished. What we have is normal guns and lasers. We haven't done the weapons yet, and we definitely haven't done the animations yet. We're still putting a plan together for animations. Somebody's asking about modding capabilities. If you want modding, please go to the discussion forums on our website. Let me drop the link in there one more time since we're almost an hour and a half in. And tell us how you want to mod the game. Like to me, modding is it's such a vague thing that could mean so many different things, and we just don't know. We just don't know how to allow you to do this. But if you go to the game and you go to the website that I just put there, and you go to the forums and tell us exactly how you want the game to be moddable, we'll do that for you if we have that information. Somebody is asking, this is a really good question. Somebody's asking, how do you increase how do we aim to increase the replayability of the game? One of the people that's working on the project right now, which didn't work on the original one, is a good friend of mine who's a very, very talented designer. I don't know how much of it he wants. He's been hidden on the project for right now, and one of the things I'm really hoping from this is that he will contribute to the design of the game. I always felt like the original CastleMiner Z was just like a starting point for a game that could have been well designed, and that could have had so much more design added to it. So I'm hoping that he adds some design aspects that make the game more replayable. A lot of I really think that what we'll end up shipping with on Steam originally will be something very similar to the Xbox game that we can add to, because we can't, if we do too much, it just keeps pushing the date further and further and further away. And I would like to get the game in the hands of people to play it, to give us feedback, at least for a beta. So before we spend a lot of time, going off in a direction that people might not necessarily want. Release date is the end of 2025, hopefully. I like it's funny people ask this question like I know, that that I know. It's like we wake up every day, we work on the next part of the game, and we're professionals. We've all worked in environments where we had to be done on a short period of time. We're anxious to get the game done. I would have loved to have the game done already, but we also don't want to rush it. So can we use our avatar on the Xbox? We talked about that a lot during the stream. No, you will not be able to do that. Will there be co-op? That's a really interesting question. The game is a co-op game. It's always been a co-op game. So I'm not sure what that... somebody's asking about breaching charges. We have the C4 in the game already, and it works with a remote detonator. So there actually is breaching charges already, and that was one of the reasons I did it, so that you could set up like breach scenarios in the game. The C4 used to just be a block, and now it's a piece of plastic explosive. It's in the game. I don't actually know how to add it to the inventory. I don't want to do it here on the stream. But you can place it on things and then use a remote detonator later on it. And I wanted to do a bunch of cool stuff with that. I have a bunch of ideas. There is we're getting late in the stream here. We're going to start wrapping up, but I want to point out that if you go to the website, I'm going to put the link on here one more time, and I'm going to say this. I know I've said this 3 times through the stream, but it's important is wish list the game. Go to Steam here, and please go to our website and wish list the game. It's one of the most important things that you could do right now. Also, if you have suggestions for the game, going here and putting them in the forums or our Discord is a better place than just telling us right here. Because things are going to get lost here in these live streams. But if you put your suggestions in one of the forums, either the Steam forums, which is the link on the website, or into our Discord channels, you're more likely for us to actually see it, because I think that here, we don't, as a team, we don't go through the live chats, after the fact on these things, but we definitely look at the forums for information. Even if we don't respond, we usually read. I read everything in all the different places, but I don't really have time to respond to everything. Yeah, somebody's saying I should pin the link let me try to do this. I can't do this I'm streaming right now across TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube, so I don't have all the same abilities on each of the platforms that I used to have, but here I can do it here. Yeah. There we go. And I have to actually, will the alien biomes be returning? Yes. I actually want to do more with the alien biomes. They're in there right now. Let's go visit one. I think this is I have a couple locations marked for these. It's interesting that I ended up underground here. Okay. Up out to the surface. Let me get rid of this weather. We'll go to a partly cloudy sky. These are new. These oases are new. We did several streams where we put these oases in the desert. They pop up randomly. Somewhere along this area here, there is a crash site that we could go into. fact, there's a place, I think it's here, where there's a oasis that intersects with a crash site. Let me fly. You kind of see the desert used to be pretty plain before, and there's a lot of stuff in the desert now. There's these oases, we got pyramids that pop up. You have the crash site. There's actually a lot of stuff in the desert. Oh wait, somebody's asking what the oh, this is a really good question. Somebody's asking here there's the Last Dragon perk on Patreon. Do you get the perks if you pay once, or do you have to keep paying? If you pay once on that tier, you'll get the benefits. So the benefits on Patreon, I think when you go over, you have to be careful what I say here. There's a $50 tier. One of them gets you preferred access to the beta. One of them gets you insured access to the beta. Like, I think it's the $20 tier gets you preferred access, and the $50 tier gets you access to like you will definitely get access to the beta on some of the tiers. It explains it on the Patreon. But yeah, if you sign up and we get your donation once, you'll get those things. I guess I should show this off. There's one of the things that we have here is CastleMiner Z merch. You can go to our merch shop. I'm wearing one of these right now. If you certain levels on the Patreon with sign you up, I usually contact you directly and then send you the merch when you do those Patreon tiers. Okay. Man, I wish I could find one of the crash sites in here. I was just doing work on them too, and I had them marked. I wonder if I still have them marked. Oh, yeah, here I got one marked. This is kind of a cool area here. I picked this area because I think there was a pyramid that intersected the crash site. But it looks like I might have changed that since then. But anyways, there's also this dungeon system under the desert. I'm not sure I'm going to keep it yet, but I did a lot of work on these crash sites at one point. You could see here I think I marked this place because it was cool how the when you see the light coming through here, this is a bug. Like, this isn't going to be like this, but it also kind of lets you show the structure, lets you see the structure underground of what this stuff would look like. But there's the dungeon here intersects into this crash site. I think I came across this randomly. I was going through the dungeon and it opened up into this area. But the crash sites look pretty cool now. The glowing stuff looks cool. There's like waterfalls, coming down. There's they're breaking off into these lava streams. Like, when all of these structures start coming together underground, the caves, we did so much work on the caves to make the caves look cooler. It's kind of amazing how they all come together. Oh, thank you so much for the donation. Will there be a feature that lets you save a spawn? We had the teleporters for that purpose. When we do a little bit more design, we'll figure this out. Am I the dev of the original one? Yes, I am Thomas Stone. I am the original dev of CastleMiner Z and the founder of Digital DNA Games. So welcome. This is kind of cool here. This is neat. This is a dungeon. The dungeons have lava in them, and this is the lava structure in the dungeon that's running down into the cave here, into the crash site. I wish I could. These lights would. We could have these lights fixed. It would give you a better idea of what this looks like. It shows you the cool ray trace. What the ray trace lighting does. Like, this is total emissive lighting. Like, the light from the lava is lighting up these areas. This scene right here is almost like exactly why we chose Unreal Engine. The fact that this light from this lava is bouncing around and lighting up the rest of the world. This up here is sunlight that's bouncing in and lighting up the world. So it's all indirect lighting, and that was what we were going for, to have these like really cool scenes like this. Like, this is I mean, just imagine coming across this randomly inside the game, where you came in, like you break through a cave. Let's say let's find a spot here. Like, and if we've sat here long enough now, the world building. The other thing too is I'm flying through this world instead of loading it. So, because the game takes advantage of the fact that you can only move so fast. So let's say we were in here. This is perfect. Let's say we were in here in this cave, and we got our torch here, and we're coming up from the, watch me lose the location. And you've been exploring the caves in these areas. And then you come up from underground, you see some lava, and you come out here and you're like, whoa, I'm in a crash site crater, you know, and you can see like the lava pouring down, and you're on the edge of this crash site and the glowing space goo that's here. And this is cool because this reminds you that, you know, you were what it was like in this game originally. Like you remember being in the crash sites originally in the game, but this is like the same experience, but just like way better. And that's exactly what I'm going for. Like I wanted to make it, you know, to bring back your memories of playing the game, but also make it like so much cooler than the first time around. This is really cool. Like this is daylight. It's turning to night, and the daylight's coming through here in the caves, and you can see all this bounced lighting in the cave. Like this is what it's all about. Like this is actually a really good example of everything kind of like coming together. Let me adjust the sun a little bit here. Let me get it to be a brighter time of the day. Oh, come on, let me do it this. Acting up on me lately. Are we able to wish list on Steam? Please wish list this on Steam. Please, I'm gonna drop the link to our website. You can follow this and go wish list this on Steam. That's what we are. One of the most important things you can do right now for us is wish list on Steam. You can go click Steam wish list, click the button right there, add to your wish list. I'm going to put the link directly in the chats so that you can just click the link and wish list this. We're adding a lot of new stuff. Like somebody's saying Remaster Plus. I think that that's a really good example. I didn't want a game that was completely different, like a sequel that had nothing to do with the original CastleMiner game. I wanted to make sure that, you know, we honored the original game as much as possible, but also added stuff. It's just like, it's like the original game, but just like way better. Like that's the best way to describe it. And we're adding new stuff. Like this is I'm diving down into the cave system here. It kind of shows you how deep the caves are. Did a lot of work on changing the cave algorithm here so that the caves were more interesting when you were inside of them. And you can see that we keep going down further and further and further. And you're coming across lava flows down in here. Whoa, thank you so much for the donation. That was a very generous donation. I appreciate that. It's a shame that the original isn't on Xbox anymore. It's a shame for me too. It was really sad. I remember the last day that marketplace was up, I pulled out my Xbox, downloaded. There was like a day that they were going to turn it off, and I pulled out my Xbox and I downloaded all of my games and unplugged the Xbox so I would still have them. And there's an Xbox 360 sitting in my closet right now that has all my games in it. And it's the only place that you can play those games. It's actually super sad for me too. I wish they would have brought that. I wish they would have brought all those games to the Xbox One. Like I think that would have been a great thing for them to do. Even if they weren't going to support putting new games on the system, they should have made the old games run. Make sure I'm hitting. I got to look at two chat windows at the same time here. So, is this game going to come to Xbox or PlayStation or to Steam? It's going to come to Steam first, but hopefully Xbox and PlayStation after that. They have to allow us to do it. How much will it be? We're thinking about $20. When's the release date? at the end of the year, please go and wish list the game for us, because it's crossplay edition. I don't know how crossplay will work, so it was one of the questions that I actually had. I was looking at the Xbox forums recently for the game. And they was one of the questions they had if we wanted to support crossplay. I would like to support crossplay. I just don't know. I can't sit here on the stream and promise it because I don't know what's involved in that. I'm going to keep going deeper. I put another type of rock as you went deeper. It's kind of cool that you can see the complexity of the caves now in these things. We got sort of the lighting balanced out. And if we open up here, we're going to open up into hell, and you can see hell is a lot cooler now. We did a lot of work on this with the stalactites, stalagmites, and the lava flows that are falling down from the ceiling. And there's no way we're going to find that crater again. Will it have achievements and trophies? Yes, we will have real achievements this time around. Somebody's asked if I'm the sole creator. No, there's 4 of us. Originally, I think there was... The original game, there was 3 of us that worked on it. But the original people are back, so that's great. Thank you for the diamonds. I wish I understood TikTok better to understand who's donating over there. I really appreciate it. Like I said, the donations, we're all self-funded, and none of us are working on regular other jobs while we're doing this. So any of the donations that you give us are really appreciated. All the money goes directly to the game development. It doesn't go to us. Like, it goes to doing things for the game. Character customization, we are not going to ship with character customization. Hopefully we'll add it later. Have you guys already worked on sound design? No. Usually sound is like the absolute last thing you do when you put a game together. It doesn't take that long to do it. You know, I always say it's like frosting the cake. Like, you make the cake, and then you frost it when it's absolutely done. Will it have PC controller support? Yes, we will. It already does have controller support. I have a controller next to me here, but yeah. One of the reasons is just so that we can. How do you feel? This is a good question. How do you feel about Total Miner Forge? I know that guy. There's another guy. We've had a very good relationship over the years. I got to meet him. He's from New Zealand. His name is Craig, and I got to meet him once. I was so excited to meet him when I did. But we've had a great. I've done cross promotions with him. And most of those people you have to understand, back in those days, all of the people that were doing serious things in that system were professional game developers, and we were all kind of the same person. So there was a lot of rivalry between fans, but not between us. Like, all of us were talented people that were sort of escaping the game industry. So we were always very, very friendly towards each other. And me and Craig, I had done cross promotions. At one time, I gave him... I did, some help. Gave him some help to get through Steam Greenlight at one point. I was always doing promotion stuff with him. I've always, a lot of, if you look back on our Facebook page, you can see a lot of, direct promotions we did of Total Miner. I know that I don't typically go to industry events, but there was one Xbox indie event that he was going to. He was flying in from New Zealand to go to, and I remember going specifically so that I could meet him. I was so happy to meet him in person when I actually did. And Fortress Craft was another one. I've never met him in person, but we've spoken many, many times on the internet together. And the funny thing is that he is shipping. At some bizarre coincidence, he announced Fortress Craft Phoenix on the exact same day that we announced CastleMiner Z Resurrection. Unbelievable. I just got a message that we are like offline, so I'm wondering if I'm actually still streaming. Could somebody confirm that we are still streaming? Because I'm actually... I just got an error about that. I've never gotten this before. So, have you met the dev of Murder Miners? Can somebody confirm that we're still online? This is really strange. I'm getting a restream error. Yes. Have I ever met the... Let me check the YouTube. I've lost the chat. I'm at like major technical... still streaming. Okay, got it from YouTube and from TikTok. Yeah. Okay, good. It came back. Okay. Somebody asked here if we ever met the J-Forces who were talking about the Murder Miner devs. No, I have not actually met them in person. But again, good. I've connected with them several times. We've talked about that. When they released Murder Miners, the update on Xbox One, I was speaking with them that week. All of us. You have to believe there was like this brotherhood, that wasn't competition. There was this brotherhood that we got from working on XBLIG because a lot of us were very similar and a lot of similar challenges. And really, one of us being successful didn't really affect the rest of us. So it wasn't like a zero-sum game. I mean, to some extent, but it didn't. We were always very friendly towards each other. Somebody's saying, "Did I meet the?" I just told the story about. Have I met the Total Miner Forge dev? Yes, I did. I met Craig in person. He is one of them that I've met. So I'm winding up on 2 hours here. I think I'm going to wind down the stream. And so if you guys want to hit me with your last second questions, we can do that. Somebody's saying, this has been suggested before, do we ever think about bringing the devs from Total Miner, Fortress Craft onto the team? No. Other people have suggested that. It's an interesting idea. I don't know what we are each talented people in our own way. I don't know how that would work out together. It's interesting. We definitely went in different directions with our products, and we used different technologies. So I don't know. On some level, it'd be interesting to try to work with them. It's weird. We have our own team. They have their own thing. Somebody's asking, are new enemies? Yeah, that's something we're looking for. But the idea of working on it, the three of us working together would be sort of interesting. Adding vehicles. I would like to add vehicles. I just don't think that I'll be able to do it for the initial release of the game. But the more support that you give us, the more stuff that we can put in the game. So it's really all of it's really kind of up to you. Let me make sure I'm hitting all of these. Somebody's asking what crafting will look like. We haven't decided yet. I appreciate everybody dropping by. Will you be able to use your Xbox again? No. Your avatar again? No, you will not be able to. I'm sorry. I appreciate everybody dropping by. This has been a really great stream. I intended to come on here and do development, but this ended up probably being a better use of time. One of the things we've been kicking around lately is doing a death toll play night with the fans. I don't know if people are interested in doing that at all. When I brought that up to the team was like, oh, nobody wants to play death toll. But if that was something interesting to people, I would like to definitely facilitate that. I thought about doing streams where I played other games, but I'm not sure that that kind of fits in with what we're trying to do here. Anyways, thank you, everybody. I think I'm going to sign off. I appreciate everybody coming by. There was a great stream. There was a lot of people on this stream right now. And stay tuned. There won't be another stream for at least 2 weeks. And I'll let you know. In the meantime, follow, like, and subscribe. Everything helps us out. Wishlist the game. Let me drop the links on here one more time to make sure, especially in TikTok, that you have the link to the game. You can sign up. Wishlist the game. Please wishlist the game. Somebody's saying playing Battlefield with fans. That's fine. I haven't played the most modern Battlefield games. Somebody's saying here you need to buy Death Toll is free. Death Toll is free to play. So you would not need to buy Death Toll. You could just download it. Yeah, it'll be 2 weeks until another stream. I'm gonna be it's my birthday this week and I'm gonna be out of town, so I will not be doing another stream for 2 weeks. Hopefully when we come back though, we'll have some cool stuff to show you on the streams. But thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get back to work. Thank you.